Good evening. So I'm trying something unprecedented. I'm recording the lecture for Wednesday the 15th on the 14th, on Tuesday. So that's pretty crazy. I'm actually trying to get out ahead. I've been doing school stuff for like 12 hours today, so it's a little bit of a grind, but it's going to be nice tomorrow morning when I can just wake up and have coffee and not teach all morning. So we'll see how it goes. Gonna go over the homework from Tuesday, and then keep forging ahead with conditionals. That's the goal, and I'll try to go as quick as I can on this. So let's get started with it. Now, find homework from yesterday, and we'll go through answers because I don't think everyone's got it done yet. We'll go through answers quicker than, because these aren't too complicated, so we'll kind of try to go quicker than we usually do. But these were the first three kinds of conditionals we learned, and they're simple. So simple present, simple past, future more vivid. And these are all using indicative in those tenses in protasis and apodosis. No special translation, really. So number one, we've got Si Dei in Caelo sunt. What happened? Pardon me. Si Dei in Caelo sunt facta virorum feminarum quae vident. So, protasis is the first clause here. If the gods are in heaven, facta, the deeds, virorum, the deeds of men and of women, they see. So, put that into smooth English. If the gods are in heaven, they see the deeds of men and women. I guess what I should have done first is what I want you guys to do when you hit conditionals is first try to identify what kind of conditional it is. And remember, it's just like a math problem. It's just like a formula. So look for protasis, apodosis, what mood of the verbs, what tenses, and then check it against your notes for conditionals. So I guess if we were doing that here, we've got sunt and vident. Sunt and vident. So present tense to be, present tense indicative C. So this is just a present simple conditional. If the gods are in heaven, they see the deeds of men and women. And it's just that quae is just an and. Remember, we translated before the word it's attached to. So present simple, not bad. Next one, si naute in provinciam a regina ducebantur, cum eis magno studio pugnabamus, pardon me. Okay, a little more complicated. Let's find the verbs first, because we know it's a conditional. See? So ducebantur, third conjugation, that's going to be imperfect, third plural, passive, indicative. Imperfect indicative, okay? And pugnabamus, first plural, imperfect, active indicative. So we have two verbs in the imperfect indicative. That's two past time verbs in indicative. This is going to be a past contrary to fact conditional. If the sailors were being led into the province by the queen, then we were fighting, this is a little tricky, cum eis, eis is the third person plural pronoun, ablative plural. We were fighting with them, now magno studio. Really tricky, but we've got a noun in the ablative, studio, and an adjective of quantity, really, or quality, agreeing with that noun in the ablative, and no preposition, and no easy way to stick an ablative in the sentence. This is going to be an ablative of manner. Remember those adverb kinds of ablatives, pardon me? Ablative of manner. So we can say, we were fighting with them with great zeal. So when you have an adjective with an ablative of manner, it doesn't need a preposition. So, whole sentence, if the sailors were being led into the province by the queen, then we were fighting with them with great zeal. Yeah, it looks like you guys are getting it. I'm working on a way to give more individual feedback. I don't feel like trying to fit that in now. So we're working on it. We can talk on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Okay, we'll think about that. So pauci nautarum. Okay, we've got our protasis is kind of stuck in the middle of the apodosis. That's okay, don't freak out. If, well, what am I doing? We got to ID the verbs first. So we've got da bunt. That's going to be from do dare. And that's going to be third plural future active, da bunt, bu. Now, I gave you veladare as an idiom, so that means it doesn't translate literally very well. And what it means literally is to give the sails. To give the sails. That means to set sail, idiomatically. So we've got, anyways, we got a future indicative in the protasis. Now let's find our verb in the apodosis. Venient. Okay, so venio is a fourth conjugation verb. That e tells us it's future. If this were present, we'd have veniunt, but e is going to be future in the fourth conjugation. So we've got future indicative in the protasis, future indicative in the apodosis. This is going to be a future more vivid. Okay, and the only weird thing about translating future more vivid is that we're going to do the apodosis as if it's a present tense, even though the Latin verb is future. Here's what I mean. If they set sail, we've got pauci nautarum, few of the sailors. If they set sail, few of the sailors will come ad nostrum terram, will come toward our land. If they set sail, few of the sailors will come toward our land. Now tarum, this is a weird genitive. It's called a partitive genitive. And so we have like part of a group partitioned off. So pauci, few of the sailors. We're going to talk about that probably next week when we get into some more obscure case uses. But that's how you do that. Few of the sailors, if they set sail, will come toward our land. Now, last one here. Oh, so I wanted you to go English to Latin. It's pretty wicked. Go right through everyone's answers. We want, if the queen rules the people well, she will be praised by the poets. First of all, what kind of conditional is that based on the English? That's a future more vivid. Okay, so I see a couple people ID'd or named the conditional. That's fine. So we've got, if the queen will rule the people well, good. So future indicative in the protasis. Ab poetis laudabit. Really close. Got the tenses both right. We want future indicative. Only problem is laudabit is active, and we want she will be praised. So we would need laudabiter. Otherwise, good. Si regina imperabit bona populos ea laudabiter ab poetis. Okay, the tenses are good. So we've got imperabit, future indicative, laudabiter, future indicative, and it's passive. So great. This means more literally, if the queen will order the people, and then bona we would have to take as modifying queen. If the good queen will order the peoples, she will be praised by the poets. Pretty close. I see what you're doing there. Again, a fix. Imperabit is more of like give a command, like slave, go fix my breakfast. Rule, we would want, oh, I guess I missed a ducat is more like lead. The verb we would be looking for is regere. But that's fine. I don't care that much. If you get the tenses down, then you're just fine. So that's okay. We got the tenses straight. Si regina populos bonas imperat, laudabita poetas. Okay, so imperat, that's present. We would want future indicative for a future more vivid. Laudabit, that's future, so that's right. We just need passive. She will be praised. Okay, si regina ducent populos bonas. If the queen will lead the good peoples, it will praise her by the poets. Again, we need a passive verb here. And we would want a nominative form of the pronoun. We would want ea lauda bitera poetis. And last one, si regina ducat populum bonum. If the queen will lead the good people, laudator a poete. Really close. Only problem is that laudator is present. You got third singular passive, so that's good. But we would want future, and a future more vivid conditional. Okay. Hope that's good. We can talk more about that. I guess Wednesday we're meeting. Now, I said at the beginning of this lecture that it's the lecture for Wednesday, the 15th. It just occurred to me that we're doing our live meetings on Wednesdays. So this is actually going to be for Thursday or Friday. We'll see. So I'm getting way ahead. We'll go ahead and do the live meeting tomorrow if we can coordinate it. Okay, but otherwise I already started. I'm this far. I'm just going to finish this darn thing. Okay, now a couple new conditionals, and these are a little more difficult for today. So we have future more vivid. A couple things about these in general. So simple conditionals and also future more vivid. So in simple conditionals, we can say technically the falsity of the statement is not implied. So if you have simple past, simple present conditionals, the dog is making her bed. It's really weird. Simple present, simple past though, the assumption is that the statement's true. Likewise with future more vivid, what the process is doing in a future more vivid conditional is making a distinct supposition about a future circumstance. What that means is like a reasonably confident guess. A supposition is an assumption, more or less. So a reasonably confident assumption about some future circumstance. So if I study tonight, I will do well on my exam in the morning. That's assuming that A, I am going to study tonight, and then B, that I can be pretty sure I'll do well if I study. And so with these distinct suppositions, the apodosis we can say is the logical result. That's why you can be confident that it's going to happen. Now, we also have this thing, it's kind of a side note. Really. Oh, and pardon me. If we want to negate these conditionals, I put an example in here you can take a look at. Instead of using, so if we wanted to say unless blank, then blank, we say nisi, and it's just negated version of C. So unless we fight bravely, the enemies will burn the city. Okay, we'll start seeing that too. Now we also have this future more vivid with what's called an emphatic protasis. All that is a future perfect indicative in the protasis substituted for the future indicative. So future indicative and the future perfect indicative in the protasis, future indicative in apodosis. You're going to translate it just like a future more vivid. It's just that it's emphatic. Now, this is something that doesn't go well into English at all. And there's no difference the way we translate it in English. It's just, again, more emphatic in Latin. So, si ad fuerit bene erit. If she is present, it will be well. Now, literally, if we translated ad fuerit as a future perfect, we would say something like, if she will have been present, it will be well. But that doesn't make very much sense in English. We just note that it's emphatic and move on. Clara erit, she will be famous. Si librum magnum scripserit. If she will have written a great book. We just translated, if she writes a great book, she will be famous. Okay, and that brings us to these two kind of crazy ones we're learning for today. Now, the first is the corollary to future more vivid, and that is future less vivid. So in future conditional, we're not as confident about. Now, how are we going to recognize it? Well, a present subjunctive in both the protasis and the apodosis. Present subjunctive in both protasis and apodosis for future less vivid. And we're going to have to change our translations up. So in the protasis of a future less vivid, we'll translate with should do, should verb. And in the apodosis, we'll have would do. So if I should study tonight, then I would do well tomorrow on my test. Now, the thing about future less vivid is that the supposition in the protasis, if I should study, is less distinct than in a future more vivid. You're not as sure about it. In fact, there's even some implied doubt or falsity of the claim. So if I should study with the assumption that I won't, then I would do well. Okay, so the apodosis in the future less vivid expresses what would be the result if the protasis were to take place, but we don't think it will. So if I should study, I would do well, but I don't really care, so I'm not going to study, so I'm not going to do well, right? That's the idea. So si ad sit, bene sit. If she should be present, it would be well. If my wife should show up for my concert, then it would go well, but she doesn't really like me, so she's not going to show up. Right? And the only difference is that the verbs are present subjunctive, ad sit, and sit. Let's look at this next one. Clara sit, si magnum librum scribat. Sit, third singular present subjunctive to be. Scribat, third conjugation verb, so that A tells us present subjunctive. She would be famous if she should write a great book, but she probably won't. It's assumed false. Or not false, I'm saying that wrong. It's assumed doubtful. Okay, one more here. Si librus eius legas. If you should read his books, omni intelligas, you would understand all things. This sentence is about Dostoevsky. So if you should read his books, but you won't, you would understand everything, but you won't read the books, so you're not going to understand everything. That's kind of the idea. Okay, future less vivid. Now we've also got present contrary to fact. And now just like with the future conditionals, there's going to be a couple types of contrary to fact conditionals. And just think about the name. Contrary to fact means it's a statement about something that either isn't happening in the present or didn't happen in the past. So notice the future more vivid, or pardon me, future less vivid, even though it's doubtful, there's still a possibility that it could be a true statement because it's in the future. It's not settled yet. So if I should study, I would do well. Yeah, probably not going to study because I'm lazy, but I might. So there's an element of uncertainty to it, but it's not for sure done. Now, contrary to fact conditionals are talking about things that are false, definitely false, impliedly false. So in the present tense, this is going to be, if I were doing this, then this would be happening. In the past, we can say, if I had done that, this would have happened. So in contrary to fact conditionals, the statement is impliedly false. And when we have present contrary to fact, it's going to be imperfect subjunctive in both protasis and apodosis. Now that's really tricky because it's imperfect. When you have imperfect subjunctive in both protasis and apodosis, present contrary to fact. And here's how you translate it. Were doing in the protasis and would do in the apodosis. So, si ad esset, bene esset. If she were here, it would be well. If she were here, but she's not, it would be well. So it's not. Okay, and the only difference again is that these verbs are now imperfect subjunctive. Ad esset, bene esset. So got to be able to recognize that. Clara esset, si magnum librum scriberet. You would be famous if you were writing a great book in the present, but you're not. So you're not famous. If you were writing a great book, if she were writing a great book, she would be famous. Okay, and last one. Si librus eius legeres, plura intellegeres. If you were reading his books, plura intellegeres, you would be understanding more things. If you were reading his books now, but you're not, you would be understanding more things. So, contrary to fact, talking about something in the present that's not happening, and the supposed result if said thing were happening. It's kind of confusing, but again, just memorize the formula for it. Come back to that, and then you just plug in your translations. ID the verbs and plug in your translations and think your way through it, just like a math problem. So I hope that makes sense. Like I said, this will probably now be like homework for Wednesday night, due Friday or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out in the morning. But again, and you probably won't watch this before then, but we're going to try to do our live Zoom meeting on Wednesday during class time. And go from there. And I'll let you know tomorrow when then I'm going to post this video and when you should do the worksheet that goes along with it. So until then, have a good rest of your night or morning or whatever you're doing. See ya.